Welcome to Behind the Badge with your special guest, Lieutenant Williams, your news source for all things police in the city of Fond du Lac.
Welcome back into News Talk 1450 and 100.7 KFIZ. Another edition of Behind the Badge. We got Lieutenant Williams in the studio. Couple new people.
Yeah.
Not Officer Clapper with us
Not
today.
Officer Clapper. Yeah, where is Officer Clapper? He's hiding on us. But yeah, I brought some of our brand new, just started last Monday employees here, and I thought it'd be a great time to introduce them. So if I could have you guys state your name and maybe a little bit about yourselves. So we'll start with Melanie.
Yeah, my name's Melanie Martinez. Grew up here in the state of Wisconsin. I don't know what else you want me to say.
You were a CSO.
Yeah, I was a CSO for the city of Fond du Lac for about 3 years. There were a couple setbacks that I had along my law enforcement journey that kind of set me back to that 3-year point, but they're kind of things that I was able to get past, and now I'm here.
And I am Officer Madeline Ott. I'm from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, not too far away from Fond du Lac. Grew up in Oshkosh. I went down to Milwaukee for college, and now I'm back up in Fond du Lac. So I'm excited to be starting and out in the community, and excited to get to know everyone.
Awesome. Really appreciate both of you joining us this morning for Behind the Badge. Lieutenant Williams, you want to jump in here, or can I start asking some questions?
You can ask some. You can ask some questions.
All right, let's hop right in. It's all the new hires like to ask this the same question. What first got you into law enforcement? Whoever wants to step up first can go right ahead.
I can go first.
Sure.
So a big thing for me, like my reason why I really want to be help be that bridge between law enforcement and the Latino community. I think I'm currently the only one at our department that is bilingual in Spanish. So that's been a big thing for me. Even as a community service officer, a lot of the officers use me to translate. They said it's a lot better having somebody there versus using a phone service for that. So that's my main goal is just being able to go to a call or assist another officer, and just having just seeing that relief on that person's face that there's somebody there that can understand them and they can communicate. So
100%, that makes good sense there.
For me, law enforcement is something I've always been interested in. I grew up with a lot of family in law enforcement, so it's something I was always kind of around and always kind of looked up to my family for that. And then as I grew up, I realized that I also wanted to help people, just be out working within my community, making a difference. So that's kind of what's now motivated me as I've gotten older, just kind of kept that in the back of my head and realized that I think it's what I was meant to do. And so I'm excited to be here and making it a reality now.
And I know the law enforcement field really competitive. I know Lieutenant Williams always saying, hey, we're trying to find more people. Why Fondy?
I think it just started as the CSO. I really just wanted to get my feet wet in the beginning, and I was in college at the time going for criminal justice. So it just seemed right, kind of Fond du Lac. That's where I went to school, and I was like, I could just quickly, go into work. And I really grew to love the city and the people here, and obviously making the connections at the department. And I couldn't picture myself going anywhere else. So especially starting off my career here.
Yeah, similarly, I grew up in the area. I actually grew up playing hockey in Fond du Lac.
Okay.
Oshkosh, where I grew up, we didn't have a team for girls, so I came down to Fond du Lac and played down here. So I was familiar with the city. I always really liked it. So then when I came back up to the area after college, I knew I wanted to stay close, and always really liked coming down here and really liked the police department and just everything about it. I think it's a really nice area, and happy to be staying around now.
Awesome, great to hear that. Welcome Lieutenant Williams back onto the mic here. So what's the process for these two?
It's pretty cool. We kind of sent them both through the academy at the same time, so they've got to know each other pretty well because they are basically drove to the academy every single day, and now they are going through what we call the orientation phase. So they have 14 days where it's kind of all in the office stuff, but we kind of have a mini academy of not just what they learn in the academy, but how it pertains to Fond du Lac and how it pertains to how we do policing. Then they will start their field training program, which is the boots on the ground. We're out there taking calls, and it's kind of like how much can you do? We kind of do it little by little. In the beginning, you might just be watching someone else take a call, but then we're going to ask you to start doing more and more of the call and taking it upon yourself. So it's a long journey. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they're looking forward to it. There's going to be a lot of challenges and struggles along the way, but it'll be well worth it.
So we've kind of gone through this process with some of the other guys, Aiden and Jack, those guys going through the program and stuff. So what's the timeline for these two to be out on their own?
So we don't have it pushed all the way out yet. I'm waiting to make our field training schedules, but they should be on the road by I think around August. Does that sound right? Around August should be the completion of their FDO program.
Awesome, super exciting there. Whenever you go through the entire process, if we can welcome the ladies back up to the mics, what are you looking forward to the most?
It's hard to pick just one thing for me. I mean, I feel like there's so much to learn. Like, we went through the academy and they teach you the basics of everything, but now kind of just putting everything together and actually like getting out there and doing what we've been preparing to do is what I'm excited for. And just getting to know people too, like, getting to know the community better, getting to actually help people. We went through scenarios in the academy to try to prepare us, but it's always just role playing with like actors. Right. So to actually be out there and be able to help real people is going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah, I'd say something along the same lines. You learn just like the basics in the academy of like how to communicate with people. And it'll be interesting, like, actually applying that in real life. And, like, you're not always going to have, compliant people. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with, like, how we'll deal with that then.
So there's kind of like three big hills when it comes to law enforcement. The first one, and each one get bigger as they go. The first one is just getting into academy and getting a job. Like, that's a little hill. It seems very challenging. But it usually, people can get to that stage. The second one, which is a little bit steeper. I'm just coming from a bike guy. I don't know. I just went on a bike ride, so this is what I'm using for analogy. But
we're gonna ask you a lot of questions about that before we get out of here.
Okay. All right. The second one, a little steeper. That is the academy, and that there's a lot that you're changing, you're learning, or whatever. And what they don't know, but they're gonna find out, the steepest one is at the FTO program, because then you are applying those concepts to real life, and that is the biggest kind of change where you're like, oh my God, okay. So I know how to do all this stuff, but how does it apply in real life? And so that's what they'll be faced with, but we'll get them through it because we're here to help them along the way.
And again, you mentioned probably August whenever they'll be out on the road on their own. What's the process looking forward to this summer for hiring new employees?
We have a process on Thursday. So we should, that's the first step. And then as we move on, we'll hopefully have some more candidates. We're looking for lateral transfers, so if you already have law enforcement experience, come to the Fond du Lac Police Department. We have a new lateral transfer program that we should be advertising soon. And we also have 3 spots in the academy that are reserved for hopefully someone that we find in this next selection process.
Awesome, sounds good. Now, Lieutenant Williams, very busy last couple of weeks for yourself. Kind of walk us through what you were doing. I know we talked about it 2 weeks ago, but if you can kind of relive some of those moments, if it isn't too painful.
No, it's not too painful. I was very terrified because I rode a bike ride for Law Enforcement United for officers that died in the line of duty, and I chose what they called the tough ride, and it was named that for the right reasons. There was a lot of climbing. We climbed mountains in Virginia. It was very challenging, but luckily I trained all right for it, and I felt pretty good overall. Very rewarding. I wore a bracelet that had Joe Kerr, the officer that we lost in the line of duty, and I was able to give that once we finished to Joe's parents, and they were very grateful, And I actually had another officer assign me who I didn't know out of Tennessee, and I researched him, and he was also a COVID death similar to Joe. And I did my research, and I found his family at the finish line, and they were so grateful too. And it's it's an emotional experience. It's physically draining. I'm ready to be back, hit the ground running, but I'm also like lagging a little bit. So.
And how many total miles was it again?
It's like 260 something, but it's like 16,000 feet of elevation climb, which is a lot.
And I know there was numerous other officers that made the trip to DC. They didn't quite go through the hard work that you went to, but can you speak on any of their experiences or any kind of things you guys were able to share there in DC?
Yeah, it was. So there was another ride that some officers did, and it was actually challenging as well. They had a new first day that kind of surprised them all. Usually the first day was 40 miles. It was like 60 some this time, and then it was about 3,600 feet of elevation, which is no joke. So, but yeah, we all met in DC, and they're all for great causes. Police Week is actually still going. Well, it was still going on. And we had a couple of ceremonies as well for our police department, so it's good. It's just a good way to remember the people that gave their life in the line of duty.
Awesome, Lieutenant Williams. Really appreciate the time. Thanks for bringing in a couple of the new hires. You're listening to News Talk 1450 and 100.7 KFIZ.